Well, come on along and welcome aboard to Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Friday, September 27th. Of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you. As always, Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. Plenty to get to today. Another great program. You know, it's Friday. It's Toddfather Friday. Todd Leary will be with us, as always. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana is going to join us as well. Lots to talk about and get to. We're going to hear from all kinds of people. Tom Allen, Archie Miller. May hear a little Victor Oladipo. Mark D'Antonio. Tons of players. Deron Davis. Al Durham. Devontae. Joey Brunk. A little volleyball. Krista Van Sant and Bailey Lebo. We got all kinds of stuff to get to, man. There is so much going on. Starts tonight for Indiana volleyball. As the Hoosiers, the young Hoosiers, they hit the road in earnest. Woo! Talk about opening up Big Ten play. Yeah, that's what they're doing this weekend. Tonight, they're at number 7 Minnesota. That's not a big deal. 2 days later, on the way back, let's stop in Wisconsin and play number 7 Wisconsin. That's their weekend ahead. Number 7 Minnesota tonight. Number 9 Wisconsin on Sunday. Yikes. But they're up for the challenge, man. They're 11-2 right now. Steve Aird's got that squad rolling. Coming fresh off of a big road win over number 15 Kentucky. So they've shown that they can play on the road. We had the opportunity to talk to assistant coach Krista Van Sant recently. Here's what Chris had to say in preparation for the Big Ten opener.
Yeah, it's going to be tough on them, I think. And I think Brianna is a prime example of that. She had to go in last year and play in front of some rowdy crowds. They're dropping the Big Ten championship banner when they play us and all that kind of stuff. So I think the more we can steady out mentally, I think the better we'll be. It'll be a good test for the young kids and the transfers, too, who haven't played in such crazy environments to see what we can do. It's hard to simulate. Kentucky, they didn't have that many people there, so we haven't really played in front of a huge crowd yet, besides our own. But I think the kids are pumped. They're excited to get in there and try to win. So
I know
that's assistant coach Krista Van Sant. Coach Aird was gone that day. But they're preparing for man, you talk about it, indoctrination by fire. Come on, number 7, number 9 over the weekend. Bailey Lebo was one of the defensive specialists for that Hoosier squad and a hairstylist. Just kidding. She has had silver hair, I think, for most of the fall. I think I teased her about that the other day. But here's Bailey Lebo.
Bailey, heading back into Big Ten play again, I mean, you're one of the more experienced players on the team. What's some advice that you've given to the younger players in dealing with this type of environment?
I think just going into Big Tens, everyone's really excited about it, and I really don't think anyone, even including the younger girls, because, you know, they're getting a lot of playing time, aren't nervous for it. I think we're all just really excited because this is why we come to the Big Ten, all of us, is, you know, to get that experience and to play among, you know, the best teams, and, you know, we get to go up against 2 of the top teams in the country, and it's just an amazing experience.
There's Bailey Lebo, was defensive specialist for the Hoosier volleyball team. They travel on the road this weekend in Minnesota. Number 7 Minnesota tonight. They're there. And then on Sunday they take on number 9 Wisconsin. Wish them the best of luck as their weekend gets underway in earnest at starting Big Ten play. A lot of news out of the NCAA, man. Of course, Kansas hit with a notice of allegations a few days ago. Now you've got Georgia Tech getting pounded with a postseason ban coming up and 4 years of probation. There's no problem with that. It's about time. And that cannot be good news for Kansas, as the NCAA knows that it is in a position after the debacle with North Carolina, which their hands were tied because, well, North Carolina played it smart. They hired a $25 million law firm, and they got rid of the people that could talk, and so that way they couldn't talk. By gotten rid of, I mean they went away. But the biggest issue with the NCAA, once again, morons, They wait till the basketball season starts and they do that to those current players. What a bunch of crap. I mean, had they done it before the season 2 weeks ago, they could have transferred. But now all these kids are stuck and will not be able to transfer to play anywhere this year. Yeah, that needs to be done before the school season starts, in my opinion. But it's also a sign. It's not a good sign if you're Arizona or Louisville or Kansas and maybe LSU that they're going to be throwing out some punishments. I think Louisville's in the worst position possible. They were on probation for committing major violations when they committed more major violations. I'm not sure what if Georgia Tech gets a postseason ban one year and you're a double offender like Louisville, I don't see how they don't get a double 2 years postseason ban. I don't know how you escape that. If Georgia Tech got it for what they did, Kansas not looking good for them either. 3 level 1 violations and lack of institutional control. That's the biggie. Kansas will get a postseason ban. I don't see how they escape that. But when does that come? Does that come during this season while basketball's already started? I mean, it's a weird deal. It's a weird deal. There's a new show on where a masked singer, I don't know, what's the name of it, Jake? Do you know the name of it?
I think it's called The Masked Singer. Yeah.
There you go. The Masked Singer. The only reason I'm bringing it up, the only reason it's related to a sports show is because of this particular masked singer. Hit it, Jake. See if you can guess who this is.
Still going with the same hair color I see.
Yes.
All right. Hit the wrong one. Hit the wrong sound card, whatever you got lined up there. But yeah, it was kind of, I don't know if this is even aired on television yet. I've seen it on social media a lot, but what in the world was that? Are you ready to go? All right, here's the Masked Singer. All right, that's has this been confirmed on who that was? Is this aired on TV?
I don't think it has yet. I mean, but I have no idea. I mean, I don't keep up with the show or anything. So,
Tim texted. He thinks it is. It was on this part Wednesday. Yeah, I don't know. Have they not named who it is yet? I don't watch the show, so I don't know how that's going. But yeah, that's supposedly Victor Oladipo. Or that's what people are guessing, or is it not been made known yet? I don't know how the show operates.
I think the whole premise of the show is like celebrities are like costumed or whatever.
Do they ever take their mask off?
After a certain time period, I think those other judges up there or whatever.
But are we talking about a time period that night during the show or during the month?
Like during the whole season, I think. I mean, it depends on who wins or loses. I think. Like I don't know I don't know how it's scored or whatever, but I think that's how it works. It sounds like Tim watches the show. Tim, how's it work?
Tim, how does that work? When are they going to unmask this person that was guessed to be Victor Oladipo? It was on TV last Wednesday. They eliminate them week to week. So they just keep their mask on until they're no longer eliminated? How does that work? I mean, what happens to people who get eliminated? We don't find out who that is? Do they take their mask off when they get eliminated? So I guess they take it off when they get eliminated. Huh, cool. So did he not get eliminated? Who did he eliminate? Thank gosh for Tim, man. But that's pretty cool. So believed to be Victor Oladipo. Archie Miller also met with the media this week. Basketball season is underway. We got one day till practice. Yeah, tomorrow. Practice opens tomorrow. Tomorrow. I will not be out there. I will be in East Lansing, Michigan for Indiana football. The Hoosiers taking on Sparty tomorrow. That's a 3:30 kickoff on Fox, and I understand if you have Dish, you're screwed. You're not going to be able to watch the game. So I would suggest, I think the BTN's carrying the game also. Is that correct? If that's the case, then it's not an issue, shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, it should be on BTN.
Well, won't matter for me. I'll be there, but people are always asking how to watch the game. Now, is this but Fox is carrying the game? Is Gus Johnson on the call? Big Gus! Had Gus on a few weeks ago. Look forward to having him back on again. Hey, we got a lot coming up on the program today. Guess what? And that's next Tuesday. Baseball returns to the park. Little fall ball. As the Hoosiers are taking on the Great Lakes Canadians, eh? Looking forward to that. You can go to Bubba's 33 and watch the game. You know what? I'm going to plan on being there today. And give me some good old Bubba's food, man. Oh, I miss Bubba's food. It's amazing. Amazing. Bubba's 33 down in Clarksville. Yeah, I'm going to be there just after lunch. Looking forward to that. Mark D'Antonio talked about Indiana, about playing Indiana. Indiana's played Michigan State very well in the last couple of years. They beat them a few years back. Last year or the year before last was a tough game up in East Lansing. Indiana was there. They had a chance to win. And I think that D'Antonio respects what Indiana does because he knows that you can't overlook anybody. Let's hear what MD had to say about the Hoosiers.
They play extremely hard. As a football team, I think Tom Allen's done a very nice job there. Defensively, they play a lot of guys. They'll play their first unit and then sub in their whole second unit at times. Maybe that was a situation in the game, but they play a lot of players, and their players are playing a lot of plays relative to that. Ball, number 9, I think is a very good player. Plays sort of a hybrid defensive back, linebacker position, but he makes their defense, I think, work by being able to do some of the things physically that he can do. They do return, I believe, 7 starters on defense. Secondary, 3 out of 4, 1 linebacker, 2 linebackers, count the hybrid player, and then 2 defensive linemen. But like I said, they're playing a lot of players. On the offensive side of the ball, remains to be seen who will be the quarterback. They do return 2 offensive linemen, 6 starters total. Westbrook and Hale, 2 very good receivers that are fade guys. And then Filer, number 1, is a guy that can make you miss. Stevie Scott's the running back. And then set freshman records last year, big physical guy, and then Peyton Ramsey and Penix are the quarterbacks. We'll see who goes. But both of those guys are very, very capable players and done good picks for them.
Mark, Michigan State's in that top part of the Big Ten East, and I'm curious, with a school like Indiana, 2 really good recruiting classes in a row, a good solid coach committed to defense, do you sense them as a team that's breaking and on the upward slide?
You know, they've always been a football team that is been extremely competitive in every football game, and they've lost games at the end of the game. You know, as evidenced by some of the games we've had with them over the years. You know, when Kevin Wilson was there, it was more offensively. I think Tom Allen's come in there and done a great job defensively. You can see his fingerprint on the defense. They play hard. They're sudden. They're good tacklers. They provide pressure. The offense has remained much the same. They've got a new coordinator in there from Fresno State who was at Eastern Michigan, and he's done a nice job, and he's done some different things that we have to get ready for. So there's that whole element that exists again now. So, but I think he's got to play he's got them playing at a very high caliber football. I know they had a disappointing loss to Ohio State, it sort of snowballed on them, but been there. They were competitive in that football game early in the game, and then some things happened and got away from them. But you know, we're going to see how they play when they come to Spartan Stadium. But I anticipate a very good game. Always has been.
There's Mark D'Antonio talking about Indiana and the upcoming game with the Hoosiers tomorrow at 3:30 up at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Tom Allen, I believe. Is that right, Jake? Tom Allen up next. You know, Chris Scolari was on the program yesterday from the Detroit Free Press in our reporter segment. He covered Kalen DeBoer and Michigan State's offensive coordinator. They were both in that South Dakota area. Chris actually almost played baseball with Kalen DeBoer. Pretty wild. But he knows them both quite well, and he knows that Indiana's got a good one in Kalen DeBoer. And I think that's going to show itself over time once they can get this built up. I mean, when you get your quarterback, that you don't lose him, when you get a line built up, this offense is it's there. The pieces are there. They just, offensive line may be more of a problem than we thought it might be at the beginning of the season. Hopefully they can get it together. Losing Coy Crunk certainly does not help that. But hopefully they can do enough to protect the quarterback. I fully expect to see Michael Penix tomorrow. I asked Tom Allen the last question, and you'll hear it. Is there a possibility that we see 2 quarterbacks? Because it's not been something that they wanted to do, but the way he answers that question, it kind of definitely left the door open for that. You'll hear that coming up next. Stay tuned. We got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. From the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, we're back with more right after this.
Oh, don't you hear me cry? Woo. Woo.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday, September 27th. TGIF. Toddfather, it's Friday. Then it didn't work out too well. It is a Toddfather Friday, though. Todd Leary joins us today in the next hour. We'll also talk with Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana. Plenty coming up on the show, man. It's loaded. It's loaded. Packed on this Fridays. We get you ready for the weekend. All kinds of sports action going on. Baseball next Tuesday at the Bart. Love that. Volleyball tonight. They're on the road. Trying to think soccer. It's just my mind's about to explode, Jake. Too much going on. One thing that's definitely going on tomorrow, the Hoosiers taking on the Spartans up in East Lansing, Michigan. Had the opportunity to talk to Tom Allen about that as the Hoosiers head off. Let's hear what how that went.
Good week of preparation. Getting ready to head up to East Lansing here in a few hours, and excited for the opportunity this presents. Getting back into Big Ten play is a huge part of what we live for here and what we want to be in, and a great environment we're going to be playing in. They'll have a great loud crowd, and just talked about that with our guys, what that means, and just expect our guys to elevate their level of play, their focus, and their execution, and be at their very best. So excited about where we are, and anxious to get on the road together as a team and continue to build this program. Questions?
As far as Michael, has he thrown in practices?
Yeah, and so we'll see. We're going to make that decision. It'll be announced at kickoff, but just continue to progress, and we'll see where we're at. Don't know everything for sure yet, but we'll continue to evaluate after get everything done today and meet with everybody that's involved and make a decision.
Has he been more active this week in the past week?
It's been building, yes. Yeah, it's been building for sure. So it's been progressing ever since it initially happened, and then just continue to, get him ready. And then Peyton's had a great week too. He continues to command the offense and throw with a lot of accuracy and do a great job. So,
have the reps been split? Have they been 50-50 or?
Yeah, we're in the mode of being able to balance that out. So yeah, just like we normally would do. So it's been both guys getting equal reps.
Michigan State, obviously a team that's done very well against the run. Mm-hmm. Indiana this year that's not been their forte so far. Better in the last game, obviously. What can you guys do to make that better against a team that does so well against them?
Yeah, I just think that bottom line is there's different ways to create those, and you got to be able to, at times just run, your base run plays and get the yards that way. And there's other ways you got to create uniqueness to what you do and the way you present those packages, and both trying to create the run fits by things that you do on your, from a structural perspective offensively and both at tempo at times and as well as, getting the ball where it needs to go. So, yeah, I just think we just got to, find a way to get to where we want them to respect our run game. So they have to honor that, and then everything comes off of that.
I know you got David Ellis out of Michigan, and you've probably gotten a few players too over the years. Is this kind of a good chance to kind of showcase yourself in that state, and how do you feel like it is as a recruiting state?
Well, it's just like anything else, in the past, we've had so many guys from Ohio here, and so the Ohio State game was such a big deal for that very reason. And then I think, we've actually started more going into Michigan here in the last couple of years, and got some guys on our team from there and more guys that will be joining us here next year. So I think there's no question, you get a chance to go into a young man's home state and be able to do, kind of show why he came here. That's what he wants to do, and bottom line is that sometimes those are, different motivations for guys, based on who recruited him and who didn't, and they know that. And so I just think that it's always good to go into an area where you want to recruit and have recruited and are wanting to recruit further in the future. I think that always helps you because they get a chance to know, hey, I can, they're going to come here and play close to home and get a chance for my whole family to come watch me.
You mentioned Coy might need to have some kind of procedure. Kind of where is he in terms of being able to get through whatever he needs to get?
Yeah, he's going to have surgery tomorrow. So that'll be swelling. Had to go down a little bit, and we was going to do it a few days ago, but they needed to get to that point. So he'll be, messaged him yesterday back and forth, and just kind of stay in constant contact with him and his family, and just prayers for him. So he has that tomorrow, and then he'll start the road to recovery.
And I guess as you've evaluated that left tackle spot, do you know kind of what you want to do with it?
Yeah, I think it's kind of been consistent in regards to, with Devondre and Matt Bedford and Caleb being able to be flexible, and with Aiden Rafferty as being a next in kind of guy. So those three guys are going to be manning that spot, and then we can have the ability to move Caleb, because Caleb can play either side, and then I think that Devondre can also play right or left as well. So it gives us some flexibility with that. But that's going to be the combination that we use.
Michigan State games inherently have been low-scoring games. How big of a game for your defense is this going to be? Yeah, I mean, that's, we've preached it all week long, the ability for us to stop the run game, and prevent those big pass plays that they've been creating, off of that, and, being able to play a four-quarter game, all three phases. Field position has always played a big role in this game. Just special teams, the role that they play in this game has been huge, and so that will continue to be the case. And so anytime you get a big road game, that's going to be, those are the variables. So I think our defense has to, step up to the challenge, and play, above their age and a lot of those guys, but that's how you grow. This is where you want these moments. We just got done talking about that, and the weeks when you have the crowd noise pumped in, I mean, that gets me pumped up because I know what that means. I know where we're going. I know what's at stake. I know the environment we're going to be in, and I love those environments, and I want our guys to learn to feed off of that.
You mentioned in your radio show kind of your respect level for Mark D'Antonio. Yeah. What about his program particularly kind of sticks out to you in terms of
the consistency, the toughness, just I think when you always want to be able to say, hey, you put the film on and say, hey, what's this coach's team going to look like? How are they going to play? And he's done that for such a long time there and has consistently won. He's our all-time winningest coach, there, which is a tremendous, thing for him to accomplish. And I know a lot of people have made that possible, and he would be the first one to say that. But just, you just respect the product that they put. This is who they are, and just the cultural, things that they have. And they've been there a long time, and so when you talk about what do you want to build, and he's a defensive guy, those things just jump out to me in the way that they play defense and the way that they're able to, recruit to their, to their fit, that kind of player that fits their culture. And that's what I want here, so that's why you're just trying to, you have respect for those guys, and he's one of those.
Coach, you mentioned that you said in the quarterbacks meetings, almost all of them, but what kind of changes have you noticed in the way that Kalen runs those meetings versus the way that Nick did last year?
Just everybody's personality is a little different. I do think that when you're the one calling the plays, I think there is a difference, with that. And just from being in both settings, and so it wasn't in there near as much, obviously, before. Very, very seldom was I able to be in there. So in all fairness to both situations. But I just do know, from being in that situation myself, when I was coaching linebackers and calling the defenses at the same time, just being in the same room with the person that's, devising everything and calling the things and calling the plays. And so I just think that helps them get the big picture of what we're doing and the whys sometimes behind each concept and what we're trying to accomplish. So, there's obviously, everybody has their own way of doing it. Some coordinators are coaching positions, some just are walk-arounds, and we've been seeing it successful both ways. But I just think and even when Kalen came here, we had those discussions about, because he could coach, he's coached multiple positions. He could have coached the tight ends and called it, from there and had Nick stay at quarterbacks, and we had that discussion. But he really felt strongly that he wanted to be in that room, and I understand why. And I want to get him in the area that he wanted to be in, and then we moved Nick to tight ends, and Nick's done a phenomenal job with the tight ends. So it's just, but I do think that has helped the growth of our quarterbacks and their knowledge of what we're doing.
So kind of circling back to Matt Bedford in particular, briefly, Devondre, Caleb, experienced guys who, none of this will be terribly new for. Mm-hmm. What's been different maybe about Nat this week as he recognizes that, hey, I always want to prepare to play, but I don't have that four-year starter in front of me that
sure.
maybe felt a little like a security.
Well, I think that, he and I have talked, and I think that, there's a major difference when okay, now I know I'm playing. Because before we were trying to balance this whole thing with when's he ready, when do we put him in, when do you save it, do you use 4 games, do you just pull it and go, and all those kind of different conversations. Well, now that's all gone, and so now that once we knew Coy's status, and so now it's just, hey, I'm preparing to go play. So I just think a heightened sense of attention to detail, for him, and I think that's natural. I think it causes that, and I think that you can try and you kind of simulating it before, almost the artificial sense of urgency when you really weren't sure if you were going to play him or not, but now it's there. So I just think he's had a really good week, and there's no doubt he's going to be some growing pains, and even with Devondre, he hasn't played a ton of reps for us. So whoever's in there is going to be, a guy that's going to have to be learning, on the run in some ways and in a very tough environment. So either way, they got to step up, and whoever steps on that field has to execute, and the guys around him, trust is our word for this week, and has a lot of great implications in a lot of different ways, and probably couldn't be a better week for that, for what we're trying to do on offensive line, defensive line, and what we got to do to go in this environment is to trust each other, trust our preparation, and trust the guys around us.
How's the communication been between the offensive linemen, or how's the cohesion?
It's been good. Obviously the older guys, and I met with, with them as well, and just talking about, hey, this is time for you to elevate. Everybody's got to elevate. When you lose a guy like Coy, that makes a big, it's a big void to fill. There's no doubt about it. And so, but then it causes other upperclassmen on that line. Simon's got to step up, Hunter's got to step up, and even a guy like Caleb, even though he's not, a veteran of many years, he's his first year starting, but he's played several games and he's been around here. It's his third year being here, and so him to help those younger guys too, because that's part of it. That's how you build a program. Is the older guys help the younger guys, and this is where they have to, even on this it's really our first road game. The Indianapolis trip was a short trip, and it was pretty familiar, even though we hadn't played in that venue since I've been here. But this is a true Big Ten road game. So those guys, those seniors up front, got to elevate, and communication is going to be an all-time priority.
Even if Michael's able to go, was there any thoughts to using 2 quarterbacks this week?
Oh, I think it all depends. There was some in terms of just, how much does, if he does play, how much do you want to get him in there and different things. So I think it was just wait and see to see how he feels and how he's able to handle all that. So bottom line is we got 2 that we trust. We do. And then obviously Peyton's been in this environment, before and has played there, last time we had our chances, we were right there in the end of the fourth quarter. So I just feel like that, a lot of confidence in either one. So I feel good about that, and that's a real positive thing. We've not always had that situation. So I just think that whoever's ready to go is going to go, and I think they'll do a great job.
All right.
There's Tom Allen. That's the complete press conference from yesterday, talking about heading up to East Lansing. A lot of questions on Michael Penix, starting it out and ending it up and we're no clearer. But I fully expect Michael Penix to play. But that's just a guess based on conversations. The need, if he's not ready, he's not going to play. But I have heard nothing telling us that he's not ready. Now, I know that they're not going to, and I don't blame him, but I know they're not going to tell us prior to the snap who the quarterback's going to be because they want to keep Michigan State in the dark, and I get that. I do the same thing. So I don't have an issue with it. A lot of people are, I saw on social media, getting ramped up. They want to know. But, yeah, you find out tomorrow. It's not that much longer. Would you rather not know and have a shot at winning or know that you have no shot at winning? I think that last question that I asked him about the possibility of seeing two quarterbacks, he left the door open. Now, I don't know if that's just more gamesmanship, which I think that it might be. Not that that's Tom Allen's forte. He does not usually do that. And I don't think that he's doing it on purpose. I think he just has a situation where he can easily do it without really going out of his way, simply by telling the truth. In their mind, I guess they want Michael Penix to be able to play, but they can't say for any certainty that he's going to play until tomorrow. Hopefully, whatever the issue is, and they've made a big secret out of it, but everybody knows, well, most people knows what's going on. Maybe not exactly, but it's been a throwing issue. Let's just call that. So I don't get in trouble. Throwing issue. But you heard Tom Allen say he's been throwing this week. So if he can throw, he can go. Ooh, yeah. How about that? There you go. So hopefully he can throw and he will go tomorrow because Indiana's going to need him. Michigan State, all they do is stop the run, and Indiana's run offense has been nothing. It's been terrible. So they have to have a passing game. And by passing game, I don't mean 5 yards and out. That's not a passing game. Hopefully he will go. We'll find out tomorrow. We got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, though. The Toddfathers joins us in the next hour. Todd Leary will be along. Tom Brew. We've yet to hear from Deron Davis, Joey Brunk, Al Durham, Devontae Green. We got lots coming up, man. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat Radio back from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
You better, I say, run away, run children, run for your life.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett. Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday, September 27th. Coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you, as always. Man, it's already been a packed show. We got so much more coming yet. The Toddfather, he's here. It's Friday. Toddfather's great. It's Friday. TGIF. Todd Leary joins us in the next hour. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana will also be on. We've already heard from Tom Allen. Did we hear from Archie Miller yet? We got to get a lot of basketball. We got to get in. Archie Miller, Deron Davis. Of course, we'll sum of that for the next hour as well. But anybody basketball that you got pulled up? Al Durham talked about playing a lot of point guard this year because, well, be honest, Archie Miller's not been able to land a point guard to back up Rob Finney. For 2 seasons, he's been trying to land one without doing so. They let the one kid go to Kansas State that I still am befuddled about. You need a point guard so bad, and you've got one right there in Indianapolis, but you don't even offer this kid. Kind of funny. Nigel Pack. I don't know why I have such trouble remembering his name, but the kid, I saw him play. I mean, he's the same height as Archie Miller was in college. And is now 5'10". I don't think it's a height thing. Your point guard is not, I mean, yeah, it's always great if you can have one that can see over, but I don't think that matters much. I mean, Yogi Ferrell is, I think he's 5'11" at best. I don't know that he's really 6 foot. So
Rob's not big.
Yeah, I mean, Finney is 6'1", I think. It's just, that's my point. It's just that they're all about the same. So why let that kid go? You need a point guard that bad. You've got one right here in your backyard that the kid would have crawled to Bloomington probably. But no, he goes to Kansas State. I don't get it. I don't get it. An Indiana kid on top of that. But let's hear from Al Durham. He's going to be playing point guard this year. A lot more.
Now, you've been talking about as possibly, sharing some point guard responsibilities with Rob. I mean, is that something you feel comfortable doing, and what kind of style do you think you can bring to that position?
Yeah, we've been practicing it. I mean, we talked about it. I've been repping it out at the point guard spot, so I feel like I can come in and contribute any way I can at the point guard spot. I'll do it.
There we go. Very short and sweet. A lot of the answers were very short and sweet at media day with those guys. Joey Bronk. Joey Bronk is going to be a unique situation. He's a transfer, grad transfer, but he's got 2 years left instead of the customary 1, which is kind of a big deal. He gets to actually be a part of the program. And Indiana does not play Butler this year, but next year, when he's a senior, he'll be playing against his old team, which that's got to be odd, man. Luckily, they're not playing this year, which would make it even odder because it'd still be so fresh. But Joey Brunk gave some of the best answers at Media Day the other day. Let's hear from Joey.
Joey, what's the difference in the work here and the work that you did prior to this?
It's been a great transition here. We've been working hard since we've been here. During my time in Butler, I had a great 3 years. But kind of that chapter of my life is over, and it's kind of a new chapter here at Indiana for the next 2 years. And we've been getting after it as a group, and we're excited.
There's Joey Brunk. They're all excited, if you can't tell. I think Media Day is the favorite thing that they do, even right down to Archie. We got a text into the show from Tim. On the NCAA allegations, if Kansas or Bill Self gets any kind of punishment, I won't believe it till I see it. They will get out of it like North Carolina did for academic fraud violations. Well, the difference there is North Carolina spent $25 million on a legal team, and they were smart enough to get rid of the quote-unquote employees that were witnesses. So they did not have to – this is not a legal thing, so they did not have to cooperate with the NCAA by talking to the investigators. They were no longer employees of UNC, so UNC just paid them to go away, basically. That's why North Carolina got away with it. That's not going to be the case with Kansas. I think the evidence is already in hand. That's because it was gathered by the FBI. That's the huge difference. The NCAA is a toothless organization when it comes to investigations. Toothless. They can do nothing. But the FBI is a different story. It doesn't matter where you are, when you are, who you are. And that's going to be the difference for Bill Self in Kansas. I firmly believe their ass is grass, and the NCAA is actually the lawnmower for once. Another text in, I could see Ramsey starting Saturday only to bring in Penix if not producing. I don't think that would take long, to be honest with you, against this defense. This is a defense that loves the short yardage game. They relish on stopping it. You're going to have an offense that can stretch the defense, and Peyton Ramsey cannot do that, does not do that. It's nothing against him personally, but that's just a fact. He cannot go downfield successfully. That's why they need Michael Penix. Not only that, they need Michael Penix for his running ability, because that may be the only way Indiana's running game can get on track is if they have to worry about Michael Penix, his legs as well as his arm. It's not that Peyton Ramsey can't run. He can't run like Michael Penix. He can't throw like Michael Penix. That's why Michael Penix is your starter. And that's why Indiana is going to have him to have a shot at winning that game. Roger from Evansville. Is Archie taking players to Big Ten Media Day? Yes, Devontae Green and Deron Davis, the two seniors, will be heading up to Chicago next Wednesday. We will be there to cover that live from Chicago for you. Thanks for the text, Roger. But, yeah, the two seniors are going up. I'm going to try to get them on the show that day. As you know, anything with Indiana basketball is tough to get done. But hopefully we'll have those guys on. That would be kind of cool to have them live with us. So we'll work on getting that done, Roger. Thank you for the text. Let's see, where are we? 9:55. We got a ton coming up still, man. The Toddfather's on today. Todd Leary. He'll be joining us in the next hour. Around 20 minutes past. Tom Brew after that from Sports Illustrated Indiana. I mentioned earlier, you got a baseball, fall ball, man, fall ball at the Bart next Tuesday. I can't wait. They're taking on the Great Lakes Canadians, eh? Looking forward to Jeff Mercer's second season at the helm. His first offseason that he got to spend. So he's still putting his stamp on that program. And I think it's going to be a very good stamp. I like Coach Mercer a lot. He's cool to work with. Does a great job. Michael Ziemba, an IU football player that we got to speak with this week. I love this dude, man. You can tell all he wants to do is hit somebody. It's like, turn me loose. Just turn me loose, coach. He's just got that look that he's very quiet demeanor. He's like an assassin. We had the opportunity to talk to Michael. Let's hear what Mr. Ziemba had to say.
Let's keep starting.
Last week's game, another confidence builder going up to this week. What do you guys see in the game film so far that gives you confidence this week?
I mean, we're definitely being physical. Everyone's running around, flying around, hitting people. I mean, it's been fun. But, yeah, we know, we got to have more of a sense of urgency this week, compared to UConn, and it's going to be fun.
Has the physical thing been something that's been missing for you guys in practice at least?
I don't think it's been missing, no, but, I mean, like I said, we just got to, step it up this week. It's a good team, and we'll be ready.
What's the process been like for you overall? You played a couple different positions in high school. Played both sides of the ball, and now one side of the ball in a little bit of a different position. Just kind of take us through that transition. Sort of like, what's it been, and how does that process occur?
Yeah, I actually never played D-line in high school, so it was fun because I just played linebacker and tight end, so I was just running around. But yeah, having your hand in the ground, it's definitely different. You got to come off the ball, be physical, and I feel like I'm definitely getting better at it. So yeah. But yeah, it's been a transition. Coach Hagen's done a good job teaching me.
And then they basically want to take you from linebacker to DN because of what?
I mean, I guess I play physical and I'm fast, so they wanted me to get on the D line.
Right. And what's the biggest transition when you go from linebacker, standing up, moving around, to actually hand in the ground and you got specific reads?
Yeah, my hands and my eyes.
Yeah. Hands as far as?
Yeah, my hands and then my eyes, being able to see everything closer. At linebacker, I'm just, reading guards and seeing everything like bigger picture. But yeah, D-line, you got to be tuned in to everything closer up.
Have you gotten to the point where you like one of the positions better, linebacker or DN?
DN for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particular reason?
I mean, come on. I mean, Coach Allen and Coach Hagen knew what they were doing, so I'm glad they moved me there, and it's been fun.
Did you feel like coming into the season that you would be developed to the point where you are now, where you're making the plays that you are in these games?
I mean, yeah, it's always been, the goal to make plays and just keep getting better. Yeah, and I feel like we've been getting a lot better.
What was your perspective?
There he is, Michael Ziemba. I loved the answer when asked about he got moved. Come on, Coach Hagen and Coach Allen knew what they were doing. They were unleashing a monster is what they were doing. Man, that dude I think he has really found his spot. He is just such an athlete, but he's a football player. He's what you call a football player. Michael Ziemba down on that line. Came in as a linebacker tight end. And now he's on the defensive line. He's an athlete, man. Straight up athlete. Man, we got a ton coming up yet. Hey, the Toddfather, Todd Leary is going to join us in the next hour at around 20 minutes past. Tom Brew after that from Sports Illustrated Indiana. We got a lot more sounds from Tom Allen with some more basketball players. We haven't heard from Devontae Green yet. We haven't heard from Deron Davis yet. We haven't heard from Jake yet. Heard from Mark D'Antonio earlier talking about Indiana. We'll have him again in the next hour. Krista Van Sant and Bailey Lebo from IU Volleyball, as they get on the road tonight, man. If you follow the volleyball program, they're at number 7 Minnesota tonight. And then Sunday, while they're traveling, they say, hey, let's just hit number 9 Wisconsin on the way home. Take care of them. Well, good luck to them. Hopefully they can get that done. Hey, we got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Make sure you stay tuned right here. We're back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
And the bright days are here. My sunny one shines so sincere. Sunny one so true. I love you.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Friday, September 27th. Jim Coyle with you as always. Jake's at the wheel, keeping us on the track. Hope your week has been good and you're ready for the weekend because it's time to kick it off. We're going to jumpstart that baby today. Todd Leary, the Toddfather, is on. TGIF. Toddfather's great. It's Friday. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana will be along after that. Lots to hear from. Archie Miller, Tom Allen, some IU basketball players, Deron Davis, Devontae Green. We got a lot to get to. The NCAA laying down the law, man. Georgia Tech hit with a postseason ban For basketball, 4 years of probation. Josh Pastner's program hit with a bunch of allegations involving a former booster, giving money and buying meals, and et cetera, et cetera. Nothing close to the money that was exchanging hands for Kansas players. So, Kansas has reason to be worried. Bill Self has reason to be worried. A lot of people don't believe anything's going to happen to Kansas because they're one of the elite blue blood programs. Well, trust me, they hit Indiana a few years back, if you remember. They hit Louisville, and Louisville's about to get hit in the mouth, I think. But everybody wants to compare this to the North Carolina thing with the academic fraud. The deal is, though, that was different. They were able to get rid of the people that were working for them, so they didn't have to cooperate with the NCAA. The difference here is the FBI did all the work. You do got to cooperate with the FBI. And so the NCAA is going to piggyback off of that because they're too inept to get it done themselves. But because of that, I don't think it's good news for Kansas. I think it's worse news for Louisville upcoming. I think a lot of their fan base has kind of just stuck their head in the sand hoping that that's going to go away. I think it's going to be bad for Louisville. Whatever Georgia Tech gets and whatever Kansas gets, I think will pale into what Louisville's going to get because they were already on probation for committing major violations when they got caught committing major violations. Not going to be good. Not going to be good. But I know a lot of people says I'll believe it when I see it, but I truly think that Kansas is in a little trouble. And by a little trouble, I cannot imagine anything less than a postseason ban for them. Now, does that happen this year? I don't know. That's the one odd thing that the NCAA is doing in announcing these punishments. Basketball practice is starting for some teams. Indiana tomorrow. The school year's already started. These kids can't go anywhere. These kids that had nothing to do with it. They can't transfer now. They're stuck. Had they done this a few weeks back and they had all this information, these kids could have some of these kids could have transferred. Even when the NCAA does something, they still manage to screw it up somehow. And they do it again here. It's ridiculous. You're hurting people that had nothing to do with this. Morons. What do you expect from morons? That's what they are. But anyway, we got a lot to get to on the program today. Like I said, Todd Leary, Tom Brews on the show. Tom Allen. The Hoosiers heading up to East Lansing tomorrow. Take on Sparty. Jake, if you can just play the second part of Mark D'Antonio. The first part, he just talks about who Indiana has. Well, we know who they have. He kind of just went through, the receivers are this, and Stevie Scott's the running back, and Failure, he can make you miss, and the quarterbacks are Penix and Ramsey, and we don't know which one's going to go. That pretty much did it. That's the whole thing he did in the first part. But the second part, he talks about, there's a question asked about, is Indiana one of these teams that is there? Basically, there's the big four, the Big Ten East. Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State. Indiana trying to break into that, and Michigan State is a program that Indiana's probably closest to be honest with you, but not so much. Tom Allen talks about having, respect for Mark D'Antonio and his program. We differ there. I don't have much respect for Mark D'Antonio. I think he's a dirtbag. I've just seen too much dirty play come out of Michigan State unpunished. There's also issues going on right now with Michigan State. A kid that got in trouble for a sexual assault, who apparently assistant coaches had told them, don't take this kid. He's trouble. And D'Antonio did anyway. I think that's closer to what we deal with there. But nonetheless, that has nothing to do with the game coming up. And D'Antonio talked about Indiana when that was asked about if Indiana was one of those schools. Jake, if you got that ready? Let her roll.
Very capable players and done good things for them.
Mark, Michigan State's in that top part of the Big Ten East, and I'm curious, with a school like Indiana, 2 really good recruiting classes in a row, a good solid coach committed to defense, do you sense them as a team that's breaking and on the upward slide?
You know, they've always been a football team that is been extremely competitive in every football game, and they've lost games at the end of the game, as evidenced by some of the games we've had with them over the years. You know, when Kevin Wilson was there, it was more offensively. I think Tom Allen's come in there and done a great job defensively. You can see his fingerprint on the defense. They play hard. They're sudden. They're good tacklers. They provide pressure. The offense has remained much the same. They've got a new coordinator in there from Fresno State who was at Eastern Michigan, and he's done a nice job, and he's done some different things that we have to get ready for. So there's that whole element that exists again now. So, but I think he's got them playing at a very high caliber football. I know they had a disappointing loss to Ohio State, sort of snowballed on them, but been there. They were competitive in that football game early in the game, and then some things happened and got away from them. But you know, we're going to see how they play when they come to Spartan Stadium. But I anticipate a very good game. Always has been.
That was Mark D'Antonio talking about the Indiana football program as being a potential up-and-climber. I think they can be. This weekend's going to be a big test for Indiana. They play a stern. This is a good team. It's on the road. They're coming off of a win. Before that, they got beat by Arizona State, and obviously it left D'Antonio very unhappy. It was understandably they lost a home game there, but coming off a win over Northwestern, which they look pretty good. The offense kind of got back in sync, man. That's not good news for Indiana, but it's going to be a stiff test for Indiana's defense. What can Indiana's front seven get done? They've got to slow this Michigan State offense down. They've not been the best. Indiana's secondary has definitely got to tighten up. It's a winnable game for Indiana if Michael Penix is playing, because Michigan State's Achilles heel has been the pass, defending the pass, and Indiana has the tools to do that. Indiana has the tools to take care of business. You've got wideouts in Donovan Hale and Ty Freifogel and Nick Westbrook and a host of other guys. I mean, they're routinely getting balls to 10 guys a game. That's a lot of receptions. That's a lot of different views. So hopefully, and speaking of Nick Westbrook, he's one of 30 Football Bowl subdivision student athletes selected as a candidate for the 2019 Senior Class Award in college football. To be eligible for the award, a student athlete must be classified as a Division I senior and have notable achievements in 4 areas of excellence: community, classroom, character, and competition. This dude's nominated for like 5 different things. He's a 3-time academic All-Big Ten honoree. He's a business marketing major. He was just named a William Campbell Trophy semifinalist. He's on the Werfel Trophy list, the Senior Bowl Watch list. He's a candidate, was a candidate for All-State AFCA Good Works team. Nick Westbrook getting around. Hopefully he gets around all over Spartan Stadium on Saturday with passes from Michael Penix, hopefully. Because if that's happening, things will be going good for Indiana. Definitely going good for Indiana. Archie Miller met with the media this week as well, as Indiana's basketball season is about to get underway. Tomorrow practice starts. They'll be out at it at Cook Hall. Balls will be bouncing. Next Wednesday, we're in Chicago for Big Ten Basketball Media Day. We'll be there live with complete coverage there, of course. And then next Saturday, Hoosier Hysteria. We don't know who all's coming in for that right now. Christian Lander will be there. Of course, Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal taking their official visits. So they get the full ceremonial benefit. Christian Lander on an official visit. We'll see if they can land a visit from Dawson Garcia. I think that's the only guy that they're really chasing right now. I mean, you see these names pop up, but that's the guy that they desperately need. They need to land. They don't desperately need to land a point guard, I don't think. They're going to slide Al Durham into that spot this year because to me it's too late. You haven't gotten one. You're going to try to bring in Christian Lander or sign him for next season. I don't know why that they were not able to get a point guard. I don't know why they let Nigel Pack slip through their fingers, but they did. But anyway, Archie Miller spoke with us this week. Let's hear what Archie has to say.
All right. Welcome back to another start here of college basketball season. It's always an exciting time. I think for our basketball program in general, we're anxious to get kicked off. It's been a long preseason. It's been a good preseason. Hopefully we'll finish up here in the next 5 to 7 days. But it's been uneventful, so to speak, which is very rare as you start the fall term, where you don't have a lot of hiccups, ups and downs, learning each other. I think our older guys have been very calm. They've been very good with their leadership on and off the floor. And I think our newcomers, two true freshmen and Joey Brunk, those three guys, man, they fit in seamlessly. They've been pleasant surprise, not only from the summertime, but also as we've started school here. And number one, how much they're embracing, the challenge of joining a group, and also the embracing the challenge of, striving to be the better players on our team, better leaders. They're not waiting around to learn. So it's been a good group. And like I said, our staff, we've worked very, very hard to get to this point in terms of the off season and planning. And we're excited to get started like everybody.
Okay, first question.
Coach, you, I think, spoke at Evans as well about wanting to get more emotion in your offense. Is that a reflection on what you saw from your team last year, trying to get a little bit more off the ball kind of movement, a little less stagnation?
Well, I think, each team is different. Every season you have to play to your strengths. This team in general, and looking at the parts that we have and how we're going to have to be built, we're going to have to be, much more difficult to deal with, which has to have a lot more randomness into what we do. We have to utilize our versatility with them guys that can play multiple positions together, and we're going to have to move that ball. And to do that, you're going to have a lot of concepts and action, to the way that you play. And I'm excited to coach this team in that regard. That we do have a lot of different guys, I think, that can play together that may look the same and do some things differently. But there's some versatility, there's some interchangeable parts, and I think that's going to be the quest for this team is to, by far and away offensively, is to have more movement, definitely have more ball movement, and play more people. And to do that, I think you definitely have to spend more time on the concepts and guys playing the game together, rather than just a play or two or a guy or two. It's going to be much more of a by-committee team on both ends of the floor, but from an offensive perspective, how we generate offense, how we score, how we're efficient is going to be through the bulk of the parts, not one guy. Go ahead.
Archie, you've talked about building chemistry, having better chemistry than maybe you had last year. How do you build it? How does that just kind of happen organically, or are there things that you can do as a head coach to move that process forward?
Well, I think you're always on a quest as you guide a team, whether you're on the team or whether you're on a staff or you're the head coach. You're constantly trying to put people in situations where they learn one another better, they spend more time together, there's more communication and working together. I think, for me and learning how things go, especially with young people these days, they can very much, stay in their own lane, stay on their own phone. You name the setting, with young people these days, they very literally, they don't talk as much as they used to. So we're trying to put our guys in situations where it forces them to obviously communicate, be more active with one another always. But I think the one thing that's unique as you get older As you have more familiarity with each other, you have more closeness. You know, you're not as new. You know, last year's team had 5 true freshmen and 1 transfer, 6 new bodies. You know, this team has 2 true freshmen and one new guy. You know, those older guys are all back. You know, they're more familiar with one another. They're more familiar with the routine. They're more able to communicate, you know, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So there's definitely been some step up in that regard. I definitely think our team understands that from a staff perspective, you know, there's a lot of pressure on us, you know, as a group of people to really come together. And, you know, to do that, I think definitely it's been more talking, more communicating, and more situations where we're forcing them to be sort of the driving force behind that. Because we do have a group of guys that, you know, naturally are kind of quiet nature. I think that's where Joey has been a great boost with his voice. His personality has really helped our workouts. He's helped our locker room. The younger guys will get a year under their belt to change. You know, Robert's done a really nice job in our workouts. He's taken a concerted effort to communicate better, to talk better, not be quiet. So, you know, I think, you know, just in general, you know, I think familiarity with each other, getting a little bit older with your younger guys, and then, you know, having some influx of some new energy. A guy like Joey can really help the cause as well.
There's Archie Miller, Indiana basketball coach Archie Miller. They're talking about a myriad of things, chemistry, which they had none last year, motion in the offense, which they had none last year. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what offense they run. None. I'm completely oblivious to what they do offensively. I've yet to understand it, but apparently there's going to be some more motion this year. We'll see how that turns out. Hopefully well, but season's about to get underway. Practice starts tomorrow. Hoosier Hysteria is next Saturday. Big Ten Media Days on next Wednesday. We'll be there for you. We got a lot more coming up. Hopefully the Toddfather's with us next when we come back. We'll see. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Thing I saw a road up ahead. What I saw, stoplight instead.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Well, my second friend went down when I was 21 years of age.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday, September 27th edition. As tomorrow Indiana basketball practice gets underway, the Hoosiers will be playing football up in East Lansing. A lot going on. But from a basketball standpoint, things get underway. Unfortunately, the Toddfather couldn't make it today. He's off busy making an offer someone can't refuse. But in his stead, newly anointed Indiana Rivals writer Nick Baumgart joining us now. Nick, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm good. Got the B team on today, and we're ready to go.
Congratulations on the new gig, brother.
Well, I appreciate it. I think I start Tuesday, and we'll jump right in with Big Ten Media Day on Wednesday. So, yeah, it'll be a lot of fun here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to it. IU Media Day itself, they had that this week. The players on Tuesday, Archie Miller on Wednesday. You were there for Archie, and a lot of talk going. I mean, I've been talking about it. I'm not this is not a fanboy page deal here. I kind of cut to the quick on stuff, and offensively, there was talk about them having a lot more motion in the offense this year, because last year, I'll be honest with you, I have no earthly idea what they were doing offensively. I saw a lot of standing around, a lot of missed shots, but it hurts, and no matter what you're trying to do. But break it down. What is it that Indiana tries to do offensively?
Well, last year they used a lot of two-man game. They were using a lot of two-man game for Al and for Romeo. A lot of isolations for Jawan. So whether that be off the bounce or in the post. And so you saw a lot of dribbling, and, not a lot of pass and cutting. And so I think you're going to see a lot more of that, less dribbling, more ball movement, more screening. I mean, if you think back to the days of like Bob Knight, you saw 5-6 passes, for every 2 dribbles, or and it's kind of the other way around. And it's kind of a trend across college basketball, right? But I think for Indiana, I think it's just you got parts and you got pieces this year. A motion team kind of deal is going to be a lot better.
Yeah, that's with the personnel they have. We also heard a lot of talk of using 2 bigs, kind of like an older school style of lineup. There's some flexibility in that roster with that. You've got some experience. Joey Brunk, although new to the program, he's going into his 3rd season as a college basketball player. So he brings a lot to the table for this team.
Well, if you follow me on Twitter, and I know you do, Jimmy, for anybody, I went over that real heavy this week. I really, really, really like Joey Brunk. And, he only played 18 minutes a game last year at Butler. He was by far the best big between him and Nate Fowler at Butler. Defensively, I don't know as much about Fowler. So Fowler was a little more of a perimeter threat at Butler, but Brunk was the better big of the 2. And so he's going to join Deron Davis, who was quietly, he only played about 13 minutes himself, quietly one of the best big men as far as production goes in the Big Ten. You had Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson and Justin Smith, and I think they got the best interior in the Big Ten. And I know that surprises a lot of people for me to say that, but I do. I believe that. And so I think adding two big guys, I don't know. I was kind of under the impression they were going to do that anyway. You know, you'd heard Archie say in Evansville that they were going to play a unique style. They were going to play, it was going to be different, right? So I kind of thought, well, I mean, they're going to use a lot of old school high-low, pounded inside. I mean, that's where it seems like Miller, we got a lot of our points last year anyway, but where Miller, really likes to get a lot of buckets on the 2-point end, on the 2-point variety. So it kind of surprised me when he said that the other day that, hey, we're going to go to India, do a little high-low. I thought that was going to kind of be part of the plan all along. So now I guess, we're not going to see Trace Jackson Davis, Joey Brunk, and Deron Davis all on the floor at the same time, I guess. So, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, Deron Davis, I've always liked his game. He went through this weird sophomore slump where he couldn't hit free throws and just a lot of things. Then he had the injury issues, and he kind of lumbered through last year. You marked that he only played 13 minutes a game. A lot of that was just him trying to get back to game shape, and I don't know that he ever quite got there last year.
Right.
He looks a little leaner this year,
Right.
but if they can keep him healthy, man, I love what he brings. He's a big dude. He has a great attitude. I think he has mental toughness. He's one of the few players on that team that I saw mental toughness from. And I think he definitely has that and brings that. And I think he's going to relish being one of those senior leaders this season.
And when you put him and Brunk's numbers together, all right, and then you compare him against Jalen Smith, who is the big guy at Maryland, and a lot of people are putting Maryland in their top 10 nationally. Indiana's struggling to get in the top 10 in the Big Ten, okay? And so when you put Brunk and Davis's numbers together, you end up coming out with 13 points, 6 rebounds, and if you put Jalen Smith's, he turned in last year. He turned in like 11.5 points, 6.5 rebounds. So Indiana has got the production inside to be able to compete with the best teams in the Big Ten. And I think, I've kind of come around a little bit. I was bearish on the Hoosiers for most of the summer. I was, very down on them. And, I started really getting into the numbers here in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I don't know, Jim. I know where you stand, and I know where I've been. I don't know. I'm optimistic.
Well, I hope that it works out for him. One of the things Justin Smith talked about on his time on the dais was that he has worked to add the 3-point shot to his offense, and that's fine if that works. But I'm like, is that the guy you need shooting 3-pointers? I know you want to draw some bigs out from underneath, but he's such an athletic guy. He's 6'8" with his 48-inch vertical leap. He should be down dominating and posterizing people, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 20% 3-point shooter his first 2 years here. He's going to have to shoot the 3 at an extremely high clip to be able to justify him shooting the ball anywhere else, just because he's so good everywhere else. I mean, he's great around the basket, great at the rim, great on the offensive boards. And, you take him out and you have him start shooting threes. Now you have a likelihood of missing, and one of your best rebounders is away from the basket. So, you talked about that a little bit. I struggle, taking him out and letting him shoot threes. We'll see. It's part of the deal in turning this around is that, the coaching has to be better a little bit as far as, look, you got to make Justin Smith go inside if he's not hitting threes. You can't just stay out there shooting. So, we'll see. There's going to be some tough decisions as far as that goes for Archie. And Justin Smith's part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about his athletic ability because he's a specimen. I mean, the dude's got the 48-inch vertical leap. If I was 6'8" and had a 48-inch vertical leap, I would be posterizing people on the reg.
Again, I'm with you. And, is there any precedent for him being able to turn it around? Well, I mean, we can look at Joe Hillman, right? I think Joe Hillman was a pretty bad 3-point shooter his whole career. And then he comes out in, I think, 88, and I think he shot 58%. He's the all-time, that's the best season ever. So I don't know. Is Justin Smith, did he pull a Joe Hillman over the summer? We'll find out. But if he's not, again, not shooting at a high clip, it's really hard to justify him, taking an attempt away from the basket because he's so good there.
Yeah, then you've got Al Durham with Archie's is tried and failed to land a point guard over the last 2 seasons. There was talk that Al Durham is going to be spending a lot more time over there, which takes him out of his position. He was one of the, he wasn't the best 3-point shooter, but one of the better 3-point shooters Indiana had behind Devontae Green last year. So you're going to have him at point some when Rob Finney is not in there.
Yeah, well, Rob's going to play 32 minutes a game, right? And Rob took, how many threes did Rob take last year, right? So it's not like when you're playing the point, you can't shoot threes. So I think Rob's going to, we're fine. That's well, we can get into that another time, the whole point guard recruitment thing. But, to be honest with you, Al Durham is more than capable of giving Archie 8 minutes a game at the point. And a lot's been made about his shooting, Durham's shooting. But, you got to think back to February 19th, right? Right before the Purdue game. Al Durham shooting 40.6%. And, had hurt his hand in there at some point, and shoots 26% the rest of the way. So is Al Durham a 40% 3-point shooter or a 26% shooter? It's the same thing with that you could say about Rob Finney. He was a 45% shooter until he had the concussion. So, I know it's a little off your question on the tangent thing there, but I think Indiana's going to be fine in the backcourt. With Green, Durham, they can more than give Archie 8 minutes of point guard help there. But you're not going to. If Rob Finney's out, if he misses extended time again, or if he's not around, you're gonna have a tough year anyway. So, health is probably the biggest thing.
Is everybody that is picked where people are going to finish? Everybody's picking Indiana to finish 10th, 11th, worse or worse this season in the conference. Is that a reflection of the personnel, or is that more
of a reflection of the national media or a bunch of sheep? Right? I'm not. They're not. They don't want to dig into the deep stuff and go real deep. I don't think they're going to win the Big Ten.
Well, of course
not. It would be hard for me to put them in the top 5.
But are they going to finish in the top 7?
But to think that Indiana is going to finish below Rutgers, that's absolute. That is crazy.
Yeah, but
how can everybody think that? How can everybody think that Indiana's going to finish 10th? How's that possible?
Well,
so
is that that's my question? Is that more of a reflection on Archie Miller than the personnel?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think it's premature to judge Archie after 2 years. This is the year, and whatever happens after this year, have at him. But I've been around coaching enough to know. I gave Tom Crean a hard time for a long time, and then he would turn in a good year every once in a while. So, the injuries are a big deal, and it was Archie's first time playing with big dogs, with the big dogs. These real nice toys, and I've seen high school guys go through it with when they get a top 100 kid. So maybe he learns from it. I'm trying to keep the positive here, Jimmy.
Yeah, we'll certainly see, man. We got a lot of season to come up. Hadn't even started yet. Practice starts tomorrow. Big Ten Media Day. We'll both be up there next Wednesday. Nick may be with me on the air up there. And then Hoosier Hysteria next Saturday. We got plenty more. But join Nick Baumgart now from Indiana Rivals. Nick, thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, brother. I appreciate the phone call, and we'll put the B team away.
Have a good day and a good weekend, brother. We'll talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
Guys. Enjoy.
Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals. He just begins his new stint there with Indiana rivals. So great to have Nick back on. We got a lot more coming up. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana is going to join me next. We'll talk a little football. Indiana traveling to East Lansing to take on Sparty tomorrow. Back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Friday, September 27th. Last Friday of September. Holy cannolis. Must be football season. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana joins me now. Tom, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jay. How are you this morning?
Doing wonderful. Getting ready for tomorrow's big football game as Indiana heads north to East Lansing, Michigan to take on the Spartans, part of that vaunted Big Four of the Big Ten East. Indiana's second test out of that group. The first one didn't go so well against Ohio State, but of course Ohio State's a team I fully expect to see fighting for a national championship playoff spot at the end of the season. Michigan State started off with a little bit of trouble, lost at home to Arizona State. We watched that game, but they bounced back with a win at Northwestern. But I think this is a winnable game for Indiana.
I do too. I've had this one circled from the beginning. for me, the theme of this year has been, can Indiana start to make its move up the ladder in this division a little bit? And, to do that means going to places like Michigan State and coming out with a win. And now the Spartans, they're 2 touchdown favorites, but I think if Indiana, they need to have a nice clean game and play well, but I do think they can go up there and win.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd say take Indiana in the points because that spread seems a little bit much to me, especially if Michael Penix is able to go because he brings to the table something that has been an Achilles heel for Michigan State, the deep pass threat.
Well, here's one thing, Jim, that I've been waiting to talk to you about all week is because you're going to be stunned by this. When I was on a radio show up in East Lansing earlier in the week, the guys up there, they both want to see Penix play because they don't like Ramsey and all his accurate little short passes and all those yards after the catch that Indiana got on him last year. They're hoping that Penix plays, and it shocked me. And I know you're just the opposite there, especially you to go. But I was shocked on Monday night when they were talking about how they were more afraid of Peyton Ramsey than they were Michael Penix.
Yeah, it is surprising, but I think that they may not have been watching this team play yet. But we'll see. Maybe I think because Michigan State does such a good job of short field defense that those short passes kind of fall into that line. Now, if having all those using 10 different guys receiving balls, that creates headache for a defense. So, and that also falls into the line. The last question that I asked Tom Allen in his weekly presser yesterday was, is it a possibility that we see both quarterbacks? And maybe that could be even a bigger headache for Michigan State.
Yeah. Well, you have to remember,
too,
that like last year, Walt Fillier had 13 catches against them. And a lot of those were short passes, that he, had good yards for the yards after catch. And Peyton Ramsey threw for 274 yards against them. So it's, he has proven that he can move the ball against them if he has to play. And, we'll see. To me, the biggest thing is Michigan State's defense, against the run is just really, really tough. So there's got to be a creative game plan on offense. And then on defense, Michigan State's offense has really struggled, a lot in the last couple of years. I just think it's real important for Indiana to play well defensively early. Maybe try to get a lead and force Michigan State to play from behind. I think that's the best way to approach this. And hopefully that's the way it plays out.
Yeah, and not only that offensive line for a running game that has not really gotten on track this year. They did okay against UConn, but that was UConn. But they have to be able to protect the quarterback no matter who it is. If it's Peyton Ramsey or Michael Penix, he's got to be able to throw the ball.
Absolutely, and because Michigan State, Kenny Willick that kid's tough, man. It's just really good. He's going to need to command double teams and tight ends chipping here and there, and running backs helping when need be. But there's one little factor so far that I've been impressed with. Indiana's running backs, obviously, we haven't had big rushing games yet, but they've been really good in the passing game, picking up blitzes and such. So it's going to be a real critical day for that as well. They've really got to be on point and being well aware. And, it's all about a lot of film work and a lot of game planning. To have all those blitz packages ready, and they've all been really good. In blocking in the passing game. So it's going to be a big week for that. They need to do a good job there too.
Yeah, I had Chris Solari from the Detroit Free Press on yesterday, and he actually covered Kalen DeBoer previously from when he was up in those South Dakota days. Actually, both the offensive coordinators in this game are from that area and come from a similar background. So they have a little bit of familiarity, but Kalen DeBoer is still unleashing this package onto the Big Ten. And with it being only the fifth game of the season for Indiana, we haven't seen everything that they're going to unleash yet.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this is one of the first times we're going to. I mean, obviously, the Ohio State game just got away from Indiana just so fast that there wasn't really a lot that Kalen DeBoer could show us in that game after it got away from him. So, so I'm real curious to see what he's got here. I mean, I'm thinking. There's got to be, a lot of play action passes in the game plan, a lot of RPOs, where they just try to catch Michigan State off guard a little bit. make them hesitate for just a second, because I think front seven of theirs is really good, and Joe Bashy, that middle linebacker. Growing up, as a Chicago guy growing up, always watching great middle linebackers play in the pro level. I mean, I love watching that kid play. He's just a hard-nosed guy. He can go sideline to sideline. I think he had 14 tackles last week. He's just really, really good, and it's, so you got to have some deception, and you got to do some, sometimes you just need to run on throwing downs and throw on running downs and just try to keep them off balance. And, this defense has been prone to some big plays, so we'll have to see if how that plays out.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball, Michigan State, led by a veteran quarterback in Brian Lewerke, hasn't done a lot, to be honest with you. They had a better game against Northwestern last week, but offensively, they've been a little bit challenged this year.
Well, and it's just, to be honest, if you look closely last week, that score is deceiving, because they still only had, I think, 250 something yards of total offense. That was it. They did not move the ball very well, but Northwestern's offense was even worse, and they had a lot of short fields, and they were very productive, in the red zone, which is obviously what it's all about, scoring points. But it wasn't like they lit it up. I think they had just under 100 yards rushing, and Lewerke is a veteran, but this team has had 5 games in the last year and a half where they scored 10 points or less, and that's number one in the country, for ineffectiveness. And, so, I mean, this is not an offense, that scares people. And, even with the change in coordinators, I mentioned early in the year, Michigan State doesn't really fire people and bring in new ideas. They just, shuffle the chairs on the Titanic a little bit. They've got they got a new offensive coordinator in Brad Salem, who's been the running backs coach there for 10 years. But the 2 coordinators who preceded him are still on the staff. So it's Mark D'Antonio's philosophy to be conservative and to run the ball, but they just haven't been able to do that very well the last few years. And, so they've changed coordinators, but they're still, for the most part, doing the same stuff. There's a little bit more up-tempo things here and there, but not too much. It's still Mark Antonio, old school Michigan State football. And like I said, that offense doesn't scare me. So I'm really curious to see how Indiana's defense bounces back after being embarrassed against Ohio State. And that's why I'm thinking Indiana's got a good chance, because I think that defense is going to play really well and keep Michigan State at bay enough that that maybe Indiana, maybe 20 points or 24 points is enough for Indiana to win this game.
Yeah, 2 things. It's going to be a stiff test for this young defensive line of Indiana. They've got to get in there and keep some pressure on Lewerke when he goes back to pass, and they're going to have to do as good a job as they can on stopping that run. Indiana's got a decent secondary that is continuing to grow each and every week. So if they can get some pressure on Lewerke, I think that they can have some success on that side of the ball. But then offensively, they've also got to do the same thing. It's got to come down to the lines on both sides of the ball in this game.
Absolutely, and I think that their pride was really wounded in that Ohio State game, because they just got lit up, series after series after series, giving up 7 touchdowns, and so I really think they're going to come out, with a chip on their shoulder, really wanting to show something. And as I mentioned earlier, to me, there's no comparison between this Michigan State offense and the Ohio State offense that lit them up. So it's, I'm expecting big things out of Indiana's defense this week, and it's time for them to make a statement. Kane Womack talked about that after the Ohio State game, that it's enough is enough, and here's that enough is enough challenge now. It's like go prove something that matters, and go on the road in the Big Ten, in a hostile environment, and find a way to get a win, in a tough place, in a tough spot.
Absolutely. And one thing that we've got to keep in mind too, Indiana's offensive line took a major hit last week with the loss of Coy Crunk, a senior, an anchor on that line, one of the veterans that they had. They don't have a lot of depth there, so they're going to have to do some patchwork on that offensive line this week.
Yeah, I'm curious because I guess the one thing that helped a little bit, you you never want to see a guy go out like that. But what helped a little bit was he did get hurt pretty early in that game last week, so they were able to rotate a few guys through there at left tackle, and and everybody got a feel for it. It's Caleb Jones moved over there from the right side for a little while, and Matt Bedford, the true freshman who's going to have a great career here, he got a taste, and Devontae Love's going to get some action there. So I think it's going to sort of be a left tackle by committee thing, but it really concerns me when Willikis lines up on that side, and when you got a first team All Big Ten, All American candidate guy going up a fresh left tackle, but I'm sure Indiana's well aware of that as well, and I'm sure they're game planning, to deal with that accordingly. But I thought those guys, when watching the tape of the UConn game, I thought those guys actually played pretty well. Now I know it's UConn, but Peyton Ramsey sat back in that pocket all day long and never got dirty. So it's like the offensive line did a pretty good job. Now obviously it's a huge step up in talent, but we'll have to see. I mean, all we can go by are those 3 quarters from last week, and they weren't bad. They did their job. So they're going to have to do their job this week too. But like I said, I think you'll see a lot of double teams on that side and a lot of help coming from a variety of places, and with the tight ends and the backs and sliding protections that way whenever they can.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you've got a piece out right now. I noticed that Indiana is 1-20 against the Big Four of the Big Ten East over the last few years. They've got they've got to take that step up, like you said. It's time.
They sure do. Yeah.
The talk has got to end.
A lot of the piece was all about how that line of demarcation. There's a top 4 and a bottom 3, and it's been that way for 5+ years. I mean, Maryland, Rutgers, and Indiana are combined 5-51 against those Big Four, and really none of the 5 wins were overly impressive, because 2 of them came against that really bad Michigan team in 2014 that got Brady Hoke fired, and 2 of them were against that Michigan State team in 2016 where there were injuries galore and they went 3-9. And the other one was a Maryland win over Penn State their first year in the league when Penn State was still reeling from all their scholarship reductions. So it's there's like the bottom 3 is never threatened, but it's time for them to do that. It's just it's time for somebody to try to make some noise. And I think Indiana's the best of those 3 on the bottom, to be able to do that. And but we'll find out. I mean, that's the joy of it. In about 29 hours or so, they'll kick it off, and we'll see what they got.
Absolutely. That's anything you got, but that piece that just came out today, I assume, that you put out.
Yeah, I just posted that one this morning, and it's really good, lots of good details, and just a lot of what it takes to go up there and win, and it's a few comments too about what matters too up there is that Indiana's starting to recruit a little bit better up in the state of Michigan. They've got some good players on this team right now, and they got their top recruit from next year's a Detroit kid. So to go up to Michigan and play well and win up there would be a huge boost for recruiting up there as well. So that's there. And then, of course, we have our usual Friday afternoon package, things I want to see from the Hoosiers tomorrow. Got a couple fresh videos coming up, too. And then, of course, we'll be up there in East Lansing tomorrow for the game, and all sorts of live coverage from East Lansing tomorrow.
Absolutely. We will see you up north, man. Have a safe trip.
All right, Jim. We'll see you at the game.
Thank you very much. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana joining us as we're about to wind things up here, man, on the program. It's been a great, great week. Unfortunately, we don't get to have the Toddfather this week, but he had to step out. He was busy making an offer someone couldn't refuse. But plenty more coming up next week, man. As like I said, we'll be up in East Lansing tomorrow, complete coverage of Indiana's football game against the Spartans of Michigan State. Then lots going on next week. Wednesday, we'll be in Chicago for Big Ten Media Days, basketball media days. Hopefully we'll get us taking up Devontae Green and Deron Davis. Hopefully we can have them on live with us when we're up there. Also next Saturday is Hoosier Hysteria. Baseball at the Bart next Tuesday. All kinds of stuff going on, man. So just get out there and get with it. The volleyball team's on the road. We'll have that information for you on Monday. They take on Minnesota, number 7 Minnesota tonight, and then number 9 Wisconsin on Sunday. But we'll keep you informed and up to date on everything. But it's been a great week. We appreciate everybody. Appreciate our guests today, Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rivals, Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana as well. Thanks a lot to Jake for keeping us on the track. Thanks mostly to you guys for staying with us. We'll be back on Monday with plenty more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios and Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Until then, this is Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.